Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Christiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs covering Broadway and off-Broadway theater. And I have a really special guest today. I want to call him a theater icon, but he is an actor, playwright, a drag legend, Charles Busch. Charles, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you. Well, you and I are friends. We see each other everywhere.
Yeah, we're not intimate friends, but we've seen each other many times over the years. I don't know if you remember, I came to your apartment once and did an interview with you for something that you were doing at Bay Street Theater. I think it was the lady in question?
Yeah, very likely. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes, because you've done so many things. Well, Charles, you have a new book. Can we show them a picture of it, Jody? The Leading Lady, a memoir of a most unusual boy. Now, on the dust cover, I want to read this because it's so fabulous, from Sarah Jessica Parker.
Right.
A magical tale of how Charles brought drag into the present day by celebrating the glamour of the past, which is so true and so spot on from the pretty glamorous lady herself.
Right. Well, should I actually confess the truth behind this quote? I haven't told this anywhere, and it's just when we were coming up with the title for my book, I had originally called it. The book originally was just a kind of a series of anecdotes, and so I called it "This Never Leaves the Dressing Room," and then the book became more of a regular memoir. And so my agent, no, it was my agent. No, yeah, no, it was actually the publishing company. They thought it needed a better title, so my agent came up with Leading Lady, and then I came up with the Memoir of a Most Unusual Boy. So we put it all together. But then the publisher, I think the marketing people wanted the word drag somewhere. And I kind of bristled and thought, I don't want to call it, Life's a Drag, the Charles Busch story or something like that. I want more dignity, more, elan, So anyway, but then after I kind of was thinking about it, I thought, oh, maybe this has to do with search engines and things like that, that they want the word drag because, drag's kind of hot now. And so I wrote the marketing person and said, would it count if there was a quote on the cover that used the word drag? And she said, yeah, that would count. So then I wrote this.
You're so inventive. You blow me away. How
clever you are. So I wrote this, rather grand quote about how I took drag out of the modern. What's it say again? I forget. Anyway,
it says how you brought drag into the present day by celebrating the glamour of the past, which was really so true.
So I came up with that, and then I happen to be personal friends with Sarah Jessica Parker, and so I asked her, could I attribute this quote to you, and she said absolutely. And that's how it works in publishing, honey. That's how it evidently works. However, that said, I've got some pretty fabulous celebrity endorsements in the back. Would you please?
Yes, I want to read. There's one particular one I want to read because it inspired, because it went right to what the book did for me. Okay, and it's the Jim Parsons one.
Yeah,
and
it's real. It's real.
Yeah, fascinating, elegant, frank, and unputdownable. I devoured this book with a glee that could only be surpassed by watching Charles Busch perform live.
Well, it's something about Jim Parsons. I didn't know him, and I went to see the production of the Boys in the Band that he did on Broadway.
Oh, he was, yes,
and it was so marvelous. I mean, it really made a great case for the timelessness of that play, and it was marvelous. And there was playbill, and I was coming home and on the subway, and I was just reading the playbill after I left the theater, and they had, I guess it was for maybe Pride Month or something, so they'd asked each person in the cast to mention what cultural things had they seen growing up that made a big impact on them being gay. And so I'm just reading this, and under Jim Parsons, he says, no, unquestionably the plays of Charles Busch. I thought, what?
Wow.
I didn't know this guy, and he, wrote this beautiful thing about how when he was so discouraged, thinking that he would never, find a place in show business, being this, not
An unusual character, yes.
An
unusual type.
Quite gay. And so, and then I guess he was in a couple plays of mine in college, and it just opened up a whole kind of world of creativity and humor to him. And so anyway, I kind of burst into tears on the subway just to think,
all by yourself.
I know, just sitting by myself on the A train, and just really, I thought, oh my gosh, that maybe I did count for something. Yeah, so then we've become kind of friends.
Those are wonderful. So you've become friends ever since now.
Yeah, he hasn't come over for dinner, but he, I think we're friends. My late sister used to never quite understand in showbiz. Like, I'd take her with me to some benefit that I was performing, and we'd be gabbing with all the different people who were on the bill. And then later she would say, oh, how's your friend Liza Minnelli or something? And I said, well, she's not really my friend, and I know that night it seemed like we were all best friends, but that's just how show business people are when they all get in the same room, so yeah, it's a tricky thing, isn't it? Like, what counts a friend and what counts what's an acquaintance, or
and who are you intimate with?
I do think you have to have, like, maybe to be a friend, don't you maybe each has to be in each other's home, like maybe once, and maybe have dinner at least twice, maybe.
Let's talk about your book a little more.
Okay.
I want to tell you that you just talked about how it was little vignettes to begin with, and I love that aspect of it, the way they all accumulate, and they begin to, all the pieces of who you are begin to fall into place, and you see and you understand how you came to be your own creation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I worked on this book for about 10 years, off and on. I mean, I wrote about 4 plays in between, but I've been working on it a long time, and I didn't.
It took Barbra Streisand 10 years to write hers.
I know, but her book is 4 times the length of mine.
But she went into yours is more. Yours is, I'm sure, yours is much more interesting.
Her book is pretty fabulous. I'm reading it right now.
You are.
Yeah, I'm loving it. But back to me.
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, when I started, I thought I have interesting stories to tell, but I really didn't have any idea of what the structure would be. And I would go to Barnes and Noble and look at all the different, celebrity memoirs, and say, oh, gee, Lena Dunham, those are all kind of separate essays, or Tina Fey, or this one or that one. And so I didn't know. I just started putting everything out there. But I did think that I guess sometimes get a little restless in people's autobiographies when it takes a couple hundred pages to get to the point where they finally start their career. It's all about their grandparents and coming to America and their parents and
what I found is so wonderful about yours in particular is that because it's small pieces and they all have something entertaining to say, but also a message that reveals something about your observation powers too, and how you were so astute always, even as a young boy, to see where you fit in and where you didn't fit in.
Yeah. Yes, I would say that's true. I thought I was kind of fabulous, but
yeah,
the world didn't see it. I was this, I think there's an army of us unusual boys out there, and I was somewhat invisible, but I did think, alone in my room, I kind of thought I was pretty fabulous, despite the fact that the exterior world didn't
agree all the time.
Really see much value in me, and I was not good in school. I've never been able to really function in a classroom.
Are you dyslexic at all? Because you didn't say anything about that in here.
No, I'm not dyslexic.
You just weren't interested.
When I would, I could devour any book that was, in my interest. I was
Right.
any biography of and rather difficult material about theater history, but I just couldn't. I'm not one of those people who can throw myself into 100% into things that don't interest me, and so math and biology and all of that, I just, I just.
I find it admirable, actually, in a way. Okay, that you chose to really focus on the stuff that was really important to you, and that you carved out a path. Like you went to where people appreciated you, and they didn't. You moved on to where you learned whatever it was you needed to learn from the situations, and you took the learning lesson and moved to the next level of your journey.
And because frankly, even when I would, be in acting classes as a kid, or any of that, I don't know. I didn't really stand out particularly, but I inside I did have this kind of insane, demented confidence in myself, and I just kind of thought, well, they may not think much of me now, but someday I'm gonna let it out. And watch out, world, what I do.
When did that moment come? Because you talk about in your biography about Zoe Caldwell coming back to your dressing. Was it Zoe Caldwell or came to your dressing room and told you were being
too much? Yeah, that was different. I let it out too much at that point. Yeah, no.
It's all process. One of the things that resonated for me about your book was I've been grappling with this concept of destiny for about the past 10 years, and everything has been leading me to believe in it. And your book just reeks with you were destined to do what you were done from your Aunt Lil, and all. I mean, everything that happens in your story, it just resonates for me that you're destined to be who you were, and you knew it as an early age.
Yes, and I must say I was very helped by my aunt. She really is in some ways the leading lady of the book, my Aunt Lillian, and one of the reasons I wanted to write the book, I did think that she was a very interesting character,
you were blessed,
and I wanted to. I really wanted to see if I could create a full portrait of her, not just some gauzy, perfection, but if I could show the places where being human, where she disappointed me, or made a wrong decision based on just her own humanity, and I was hoping that if I really made a full picture of that, the reader still would come away with really appreciating her and loving her. And I from what I gather, I think I pulled that off. So I do think that, she did think I was just fantastic, and yet tough with me, because she worried that I would, this kind of dreamy quality that I had, that it could be dangerous of not living in the real world. And so she was very, very tough on me in rather existential ways, of just that, she would lecture me, and I don't want to be like Blanche Dubois. Before I knew who Blanche Dubois was, I shouldn't be like her. She wanted me to face reality and really have insight into myself, and not live in illusion and lies.
So another, which is really beautiful, which is another theme that she gave you that you talk about too, is duality, and how duality is so important to you. By grounding you like that, she gave you a duality. That you maybe wouldn't have thought. And it feels like destiny to me. It's like so.
It's a mixture of her being pounding home to me to see clearly and
yes,
don't delude yourself.
Right.
But then also really appreciating who you are. And she thought I was just, wonderfully talented, and anything I did was spectacular, so she could be very critical in some ways, and yet beyond supportive. She was. I think I say in the book, and sometimes she was kind of my project manager. I was, I was an art major.
Yeah, that was another thing that I had no idea. My God, you're so gifted as an artist. I mean, it's just you're naturally gifted as an artist. It's mind-boggling.
And not that interested. It was sort of, I think other people have this where they just maybe, I don't know, have a natural gift for music, but not necessarily overwhelming interest. But with me, yeah, I don't know. I was just born with an ability to draw up people, and
Right, they're fabulous.
and it wasn't a passion of mine.
You should have given us some of your sketches to show for the audience. I didn't think about that because there's one in the book. I forget who it was.
Julie Wilson, the singer Julie Wilson.
Yes. Oh, yes.
No, I just I had this talent, and then but I was able to use it in a very pragmatic way. That during about 10 years of real struggle financially, trying to find my place, some place for me as a writer, actor, and like every other young person in the arts, I had to try to earn a living. And so instead of being a waiter, which I did try for 1 3-hour job, and was the worst, it was like out of I Love Lucy. I mean, it was just such.
Listen, our time, I'm going to interrupt you only because our time is going so fast and we have some other things I want to get around to. And you did have a struggling period, but you broke out with the Vampire Lesbians of Sodom off Broadway in the East Village. And you created a whole niche for yourself and wrote plays that you could star in and moved yourself into the mainstream. It's been incredible, your journey, absolutely incredible. And now as you've made your plays have been made into films, some of them, Die Mommy Die. And what's another one?
Psycho Beach Party.
Psycho Beach Party is another popular one. And you now, during COVID, when there's nothing to do, you come up with the idea to make a movie.
Yeah, well, you shot a movie at the height of COVID, before there was a vaccine. In fact, so the protocols were just crazy, and some of them did ultimately. Now we realize didn't make any sense, but we did it all, and we shot. When I say we, it's my friend Carl Andrus, who has
one of your directors, works with you all the time.
He's directed almost
very gifted
for the past 25 years. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of like my son in some ways, really, and so anyway, we wrote together via Skype the screenplay, and then we were able to somehow get it made immediately and shot in my neighborhood here in Greenwich.
What's it called again? The
Sixth Reel, and it's a wacky comedy caper movie, and it's all about obsessive classic movie collectors who are find this rare lost reel of a legendary silent film, and they steal it from each other and have to steal it back. And I always wanted to make a movie where my buddy Julie Halston and I would get up in wacky disguises and be running around like fools around Greenwich Village, and we did it. It's available now. It's out. I should say it was kind of a lost film in itself for a while, to be quite honest, but at long last it's available to be seen on Amazon Prime and Apple TV.
And you can also find a trailer of it on YouTube if you want to.
I'm really plugging this movie.
Go.
I'm so proud of it. We've got all sorts of marvelous people in it. Margaret Cho, and Tim Daly, Patrick Page, Andre DeShields, and just like a whole raft of Tony Award winners and nominees. It's
bravo.
Great.
I'll have to see it too. I mean, you're just always coming up with something that's inventive and new and fresh. And after in 2000, you went very mainstream with The Tale of the Allergist's Wife, which won a Tony nomination for Best New Play on Broadway. It was stunning.
Yeah, it's someone told me it's the longest running comedy on Broadway for the past 25 years or something. Of course, I don't know. I think it might be the only Broadway comedy of the past 25 years, but I'm going to own it. It just, it's funny about how things somehow just a series of incidents or events happen that bring you somewhere else. That it's often not just like bam, you get an opportunity.
And we go back to my destiny theme.
Different people along the way, like
Yeah.
I was asked to write the book to a musical for Manhattan Theater Club, which is marvelous nonprofit theater here in New York City, and so I wrote the book. This musical wasn't well received, didn't do well, but I established a great relationship with Lynn Meadow, the artistic director of Manhattan Theater Club, who then said, I would love to produce and direct your next play, whatever it is. So then I thought, okay, Vampire Lesbians Part 2 might not be right for the subscriber base of Manhattan Theater Club, which is kind of conservative. So I wrote this play based
So it was just based on her saying that you came up with this idea?
Yeah. Well, I'm really, sometimes I think of myself less as a playwright than a playmaker. I often write to order. Most of the plays I've written for myself as the leading lady.
Well, that's one of the most fascinating things about your journey too, because when you started out in Northwest and you couldn't get parts, you just said, well, let me write the parts for me to do. And you just continued doing that, creating work for yourself over and over again.
Because ultimately I agreed with the people who didn't cast me. I thought, I'm not right for those parts. Another sort of more straight acting person would be more suitable for that particular role, but there are no roles for me. So therefore, unless I just want to, I don't know, go into advertising or something, I better figure out a way of writing a role that only I can play, let's say, or that's so suited. There was a great quote from the French playwright Jean Cocteau: whatever it is about you that people condemn you for, cultivate that, because that's who you really are. And I read that quote at the age of 19, and it resonated with me that maybe these qualities that are that I'm too androgynous or to this or to that makes me impossible to be cast in just regular young male parts. Maybe that's something that's unique about me, and I shouldn't loathe it. I should celebrate it.
And so you did, and we have some images, some pictures of some of the females you celebrated, and you can tell us what they are, okay? Jody, if you just show us the images, you can talk over them, okay, Charles?
All right. This is the marvelous actress Mary Testa in blue, and a marvelous actor John Voida, whose head I'm about to decapitate, in a play called Judith of Bethulia. And I have this relationship with a very unique downtown theater on the Lower East Side called Theater for the New City. And it's still run with an iron fist by the same woman who founded it in 1971, Crystal Fields.
Crystal Fields.
And I go there, and over the years, and I started out, she produced my very first play. And over the years, whenever I've had some sort of disaster in a foray in the commercial theater, I go back to Theater of the City and I put on a play just for a couple weeks, and we invite no critics, and it's just for the fun of it, and for the fun for the audience, who just will know that it's on through social media. And so we keep, and people always say to me, oh, you're gonna move it, right? You're gonna move it to off Broadway or Broadway. I said, no, that's not the point. We're just doing it for the fun of it. It just so happened that twice with the Divine Sister and I forget, there was another one, Lily Dare, that we actually did move them. But yeah, that's not the issue. Well, here's Julie Halston, my comic muse, and I in Vampire Lesbians of Sodom, which was our big break.
Yes.
Big break. And yes, I'm the young virgin.
Launched you, didn't it?
Overnight. Overnight doesn't always happen with off Broadway. Broadway, yes, but with off Broadway, you can get a rave review, and your life is not changed. For me, who I was the day before we opened and who I was the day after were completely different. Mainly in the fact that the day before, I couldn't earn a living and had to be a quick sketch portrait artist or receptionist in a zipper factory or all the crazy things I did. and the day after, and from that time on, I could earn my living as a writer, actor. And that, to me, that was the whole thing. That was the goal, not to have my own sitcom or whatever, but just to earn my living doing what I love to do. That's, to me, one of the rarest things in the world.
Especially when you're an artist and a theater person on top of it. Yeah.
Here's this is from the Confession of Lily Dare, which was the last play that I did before COVID.
We have about 3 minutes too.
We closed about 3 minutes before the lockdown, and anyways, so that was a lot of fun. And now I've got a new play that we're going to be doing this winter at the George Street Theater in New Jersey, and then
what's the new play?
Moving immediately to primary stages, New York. It's called Ibsen's Ghost. Ibsen's Ghost, an irresponsible biographical fantasy, and I play the widow of the famous Norwegian playwright Henrik Ibsen.
And wow!
Hijinks ensue.
When?
We open in New Jersey. In I believe mid-January into February, and then in New York at Primary Stages Theater, and they work out at 59 East 59th Street in I guess late February through early April.
This next year, this is a project, an upcoming project. Oh, how exciting! You just never stop. You just never stop. It's fabulous. How cool!
I have no hobbies. I have no hobbies, so that's what I have to work. Because I kind of thought after Lily Dare, maybe I'm just retired, and because of COVID, everything was closed down. I thought, well, maybe I'm just retired, but I have no hobbies. Even drawing, I don't draw off my own pleasure. I just draw if I have to.
And you just like to perform. You're a performer. It's in your book, and it was your destiny to be on the stage and to inspire people to be themselves, because that's what I got from your book, and that's what's so inspirational about it. That it just resonates like for me.
Well, thank you. I hope so. That's a wonderful thing. If you can go, your achievements can go beyond just paying the bills but actually mean something to someone else. That's something very beautiful.
It's just like your moment on the train, because there'll be many of them, because the people that hear it will hear it.
Well,
and it's very clear to me, and I haven't even finished it. And
wait till you get to the end. The end's got
I'm only at the page 100. Okay.
Big tearjerker ending. Yeah.
I think I got a hint already a little bit, but we talked about it. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Charles, thank you so much. Your movie, The Sixth Reel, is available. People can watch it. You can see a trailer on YouTube, and your book. I hope everyone will read it. It's fabulous.
Patrick, it's been a lot of fun catching up with you.
Ditto. We'll have to do it again.
I hope so.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.